Section 11, zero or infinity. With the addition of hyper-real numbers, the subjectively personal nature of value or probability assignment, and the inclusion of comparative doubt, the combination of the three can throw a wrench into the traditional presentation of Pascal's wager. After all, I could just say, a tuna sandwich is of 2h value to me, whilst the afterlife is just h, so I'd rather ensure I get more tuna sandwiches than spend any effort towards the afterlife. And the wager fails. This is where our earlier discussion of meaning re-enters the picture, which helps us to significantly reduce the subjectivity involved. In our baseline assumptions, if we want to maximize the potential for meaning in our lives, we established that our goal must be eternal as a prerequisite. We can't stake all our meaning in a temporal or finite goal, as it will eventually be erased and become meaningless due to the objective action of time. If the only thing that can possibly have maximally meaningful value is achieving some eternal goal, then comparing that goal to anything with a finite cost can be represented as, where x represents some non-zero probability that we can actually achieve that eternal goal. The outcome value on the left is always zero because it is finite and will inevitably be erased and have no value to our meaning. In such comparisons, our options become zero or infinity. However, what if someone infinitesimally doubts the possibility of an eternal goal, like we did the mugger? Our equation becomes, which cancels out to, since x must be non-zero, our eternal goal still always takes precedent. As a result of the elimination of all finite costs and finite value, the dynamics of our decision-making equation has radically changed. If this equation is supposed to represent rational decision-making, the only decisions that can have a positive expected value are ones that make progress towards an eternal goal. Considering attaining the best afterlife and the conquest of entropy yield rewards immune to time, both are valid strategies that should stand ahead of all finite costs. However, it's still not obvious which strategy we should adopt. To this end, the remainder of x in zero is greater than x is significant, because it allows us to compare different offers, or strategies, of maximal meaning against one another. For example, if the mugger offers us a surefire strategy to attain maximal meaning, but only if we give him our wallet, we remember our current strategy and approximate the probability each strategy will succeed. If I still think there is a 0.0001% chance that the robber's strategy will succeed because I doubt his truthfulness, and believe there is a 20% chance my current strategy will succeed, we get the following. Thus, I decide to believe my brain's counteroffer and doubt the mugger. The critical change is that the comparison of claims no longer pertains to the finite cost of my wallet against the hyper-real expected value of the mugger's offer, but my existing meaning maximization strategy against the one the mugger presents. Therefore, when we encounter other claims about how to achieve maximal meaning, it is rational to select the option that will most probably result in success. For this reason, if I came across an option that I thought had a 30% chance of providing me with maximal meaning, I would be obliged to switch to it and its accompanying finite behaviors. It also shows that although we have eliminated all finite value from the equation, what I select as my meaning maximization strategy still dictates my temporal behavior and decision-making, such as whether or not I give up my wallet. Just like I shouldn't give up my wallet, every temporal decision I make in life would ideally be informed by my chosen strategy. Of course, how we approximate the probability of success for any strategy is still somewhat subjective, but no longer infinitely subjective. Firstly, because probability must be between 0 and 1, the range is normalized. Secondly, we assume that we are looking for maximal meaning, so the value parameter is removed from the equation, and all strategies prioritizing finite goals and meaning are excluded by default. Yet, now the specter of the afterlife returns to us. Entering the best afterlife outcome could also provide us with maximal meaning, potentially even the most transcendent meaning possible. We really don't know. The problem is, of all imaginable strategies, it is the one most impossible to approximate due to its inherent unverifiable nature. Even the probability that we will conquer entropy can be reasonably approximated, as we verifiably know the cadence of scientific development and how to spur it along. Yet, to verify the afterlife, we must forfeit our ability to verify it by dying. Thus, we are forced to make a completely blind speculation, knowing the probability of success must be larger than 0%, but less than 100%. It truly is unknown, but the risk is not unmanageable, so we apply the safe gambit. At minimum, this means we should behave as if the afterlife exists and should influence our behavior, but could also suggest that attaining the best afterlife outcome is of paramount importance due to it being the only goal that has totally unknown odds, though that conclusion depends on your appetite for risk with your meaning. Overall, I believe the safe gambit stands out as a very rational approach to the question of the afterlife within the goal of maximization of meaning. Of course, these last 3 sections were written to validate the safe gambit, optimal gambit, and that we should behave as if the afterlife exists on the premise that it could provide maximal meaning. I recognize it does not answer how we should deal with the thousands of different claims about what the afterlife is like, or even how exactly we should adjust our behavior. This is a topic we will discuss later, but there is another question that needs to be settled first.